Wait.
We're on. Howdy, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Reseller Niche Podcast. I'm here with Russ. How's it going over there, Russ?
Mo, it is going fantastic down in Savannah, Georgia. How about you over there in California?
Oh, it's nice and sunny. And here with Russ. How's it going over there, Russ? Oh, my goodness. Hold on 1 second.
Who's got feedback?
That's me. All right, let's try it. So what I'm going to do, since I just messed it up, I'm going to let our guests, Zaheer and Malik, introduce themselves really fast. Go ahead, guys.
Hi, guys. I'm Zaheer.
I'm Rebecca.
We're both UK-based sellers. We sell on eBay and a little bit on Amazon, mostly on eBay.
Yeah.
We've been doing this now in total. I've been doing it for 4 years now, I think.
Yeah, mine's
two.
Yeah.
And yeah, we started off like most people do. We're in debt. We were renting our house and we hated the job we had.
Yeah.
So now, fast forward, we're still in debt. We still don't have our own house, but at least we don't have a job that we hate. So
that's the best right there.
All right. Have a good night, folks. Because that's it right there. I mean, you don't have that soul-sucking job. That's awesome. That's
pretty
awesome.
much. Yeah, pretty much.
That's it.
What did you guys do before reselling? If I could go back there for 2 seconds.
Do you want to go first? You go first now.
Yeah. I was actually working in a doctor's surgery. I was the reception kind of team leader, manager. So I managed a team of like 11 of us. Yeah.
Busy surgery, wasn't it?
It was busy surgery. We had like 18,000 patients.
And it kept you, the hours were long. And
yeah. I was working over 40 hours a week. Barely seeing the kids and you.
Yeah. And coming home pretty stressed sometimes.
And very stressed.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Wow. Yeah, I have medical field. That's not easy.
Yeah, it's really not. I mean, when you're talking about people's health, the stresses of just dealing with the patients on a daily basis is,
And being reception, you guys were at the front, so you get
like the full force of it.
Myself, pretty much been in retail since day one. So like my very first job was at Dixon's, which was like an electrical retailer. I got that when I was 16, and then over the years I've done the same thing but for different companies. So I worked in Harrods hi-fi section for a good few years, and then I worked as a rep for a few years, and then ended up finally having enough of working and decided to go it alone, because like I said, it was just it's not like when we had jobs you feel like you were more responsible, if you know what I mean, because you've got like an employment. When you're employed, you feel like you're a responsible citizen because you're doing what you're meant to do, which is go out and get a job
or what you're told to do.
And but the thing is, when it's not, unless it's a really decent paying job, the chances are you're going to fall into debt, especially when you've got kids. We had kids young. No one's perfect. Like we had them probably at an age where we would have maybe would have liked to have been a bit older. But we're not complaining, obviously. But it's just it just wasn't paying enough, and you ended up in debt anyway. Rents are very high, especially in the southeast. So yeah, it made sense, because then we were like, what's the point? And then on top of that, having a job that you have to take all this stress from.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha. How did you transition over? How much time did that take to transition over? Who came up with the idea? Like, how did you guys work that out together?
My very first, it was me first.
It was you first.
And I was reselling for about 2 years. I mean, what had happened is I was getting more and more annoyed at work. I used to work as a rep for Nestle, my last proper job, full-time job. And then I was getting more and more frustrated with it. And I checked, I'd been doing like the usual thing where you go on YouTube, and I saw this guy called DIY Mike, I remember. He's like a US based guy, and he's amazing. And but the thing is, at that point, and then I saw Gil Mama and Gil Daddy, but at that point it still didn't seem attainable because obviously we're in the UK
Yeah.
and those guys are in the States, and I just didn't feel the connection of whether we could actually do this. And then obviously Nick Hills came along and did a video in the UK, like, and I was like, Beck, look, this guy is in the UK and he's doing this. I can do it too.
Yeah.
And you know, luckily a situation occurred at work where I was able to transfer account and do like a 3-day-a-week job. And then that got me, gave me more time to. I just threw myself in it because I was like, well, we're in stuff anyway. I was gonna say we're in the dude anyway. You know, it's not like we're swimming in money. So why not just take the chance? You know, we've still got 3 days. You're full time.
At that point, I was working full time anyway, so I could take some of the slack off of you.
Yeah,
the cut of the hours. Down
exactly.
Part time. So
and
that's.
Yeah,
more or less how it.
So that's how it started, and then soon enough I got fed up of doing the 3 days,
and then just quit.
Yeah, and I just quit
because that's what he did.
Yeah,
he's quit every single job he's been in.
I'm a quitter. Yeah, but I'm
haven't quit this yet.
By the way, Garage Flips, Lonnie's in the chat. Hi Lonnie. Z, the beard is thick. Thanks, man. I was thinking about shaving it.
You can't at the moment.
Well, I had like a real embarrassing moment at the weekend at the car boot. It was yeah.
please tell me, Z, that you did some epic quit. I mean, it's like, don't you love those? Not saying anything bad about a company or anything, but one of my last contracts was Nestle, and it was kind of like one of the times I talk about soul sucking. And so please tell me that your last one, when that you just went in and did a mic drop or something.
No, I was dignified enough to I just said to them, I'm not coming in anymore.
Yeah.
And then they were like, what do you mean you're not coming in? And I was like, yeah, I'm just, what? And they're like, what about your notice and all this? And I was just like, fuck your notice. Sorry, yeah. I was like, what? You know, like at that point, my mind had been, you know, when you make your mind up to do something like that, you know, you just, it's not something that you want to, I just don't understand that whole concept. Like, you've decided you hate this job, right? Yeah. And then they tell you you've got to work 4 more weeks at this job that you hate. For what? I just don't understand the concept of notice. Like, we have
the productivity goes down. When I was in staffing and somebody say they leave, you know, I'm getting their notice. I tried to get them out the door that day or soon because their productivity goes down.
Well, you won't care anymore.
Yeah, you don't care. So notices are for suckers. That's
right. Actually, it's even worse now. Companies these days, I've talked to people where they give a notice and then the manager says something like, "Oh, okay. Well, we're looking to bring in this person, this person, this person. Can you train them for 2 weeks?" And like, yeah,
that's what they did to you.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did with me.
Okay, it's like
Rebecca's very different to me. Whereas I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. She'll be like, she goes by the book. Yeah. She's like completely by the book. So when she had her notice, she worked 4 weeks?
4 weeks. Because of my position, I had to work 4 weeks.
I would have still just gone. I was like, you're not president.
I was training. I was training the new person that was going to take over me.
Yeah,
that's
we're just different like that. We're quite different, so just just the way it is.
Okay, so then you quit, and then was there a plan?
No,
I'd like to say there was.
There was no plan.
It was a lot of it was based on hype. I'm very impulsive. Like, I'm mega impulsive. Like, Rebecca literally has to, you know, kind of rein me in, because I will just, if an idea comes into my head, I just want to just do it, to hell with the consequences. I mean, it works both ways sometimes, because sometimes I'm a little bit too like, I don't want to take a risk, so you kind of help push me along to kind of take a bigger risk. But it's so it's we didn't really have it planned out. I mean, like, you know, like when people say you should kind of get a certain amount of your 3-month salary saved up. I mean, we couldn't save anything in our life, so the chance of us saving 3-month salary wasn't going to happen. And then I thought, well, does that mean I'm doomed to work for someone for the rest of my life? And I thought that can't be right either. So
and I still remember coming home from work and you getting your like first big sale.
Yeah,
and you were just like jumping around the room.
Yeah, I was like, look how much money we've made. Yeah.
And he bought like this, was it an alcohol meter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
From an auction.
Yeah.
And how much did you buy it for?
We bought it for about 90 with the fees in, and we sold it for like 250 or 300. And I was like,
you were
so over the moon about how much money I'd made. Like
the light went on.
Yeah.
Right there. And it made it real. I mean, you said you paid, what'd you pay, 90? What was the item?
90. It was like an alcohol tester that the police used.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
DUI type. Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of thing. Yeah.
And it sold for what?
250 or 300. I think it was 300. I think we had it for more than that. I think it was close to 300. Yeah. Yeah. We took an offer on it. I remember. And I was like, so excited when that happened. I was like literally bouncing. And
then did you do this and you figured out your profit and you went, wait a minute, back at the job?
It would have taken me, it's exactly
exactly what you did.
That's it. I was saying to Big, it would have taken me this many days. That's like 3 days work and I've just done it. Like, you know, it was brilliant. It felt so good. And I mean, we did have like, you know, we had a lot of that support. But part of what made things difficult was when Rebecca also decided to join in, because we were paying a lot of rent down south, like down in the southeast. It's very expensive near London. We, you know, born and bred near London, and our rent was very high.
We always wanted to work together at some point, didn't we? We always knew we wanted to have some kind of business running, but it just happened that like this was our way in, really, wasn't it? With
exactly.
eBay.
Did you like come to the realization, or did Z kind of push you and say you need to come home now? It's time.
He built it up to a certain point, and then it was getting to a point where he was like, I think we can actually make this work as a couple.
But not where we were.
Yeah.
And this is
we
basically I remember having the conversation with Rebecca saying we can't afford to move really because of the costs involved in moving, but at the same time we can't really afford to stay where we are either because it's so expensive. Because like it was literally eating up the majority of her wage. And I was just thinking, like, if she came on board, we, you know, things will be tough at first, but you've got that. One of the best things about working for yourself is it removes you knowing what you're going to earn for the month. And I know that can be scary because it can mean you could earn nothing, but on the flip side, you can earn more than you've ever earned in your job. And that's what made us move, like, you know, from the southeast of the country to the northwest, and that gave us a lot cheaper rent. Our rent up here is way less than it was down south, and we've got a much nicer house for it, a lot more space, and it allowed Beck to come on board. And at first it didn't quite work out because
it wasn't plain sailing.
No.
It was very much because Zaheer had this impression in his head that we had enough stock for both of us to be working and earning a living, but in the reality, once I was on board, we kind of ran through that stock within about 2 or 3 weeks. And then I was like, now what are we gonna do?
Let me stop you right there, because I think you guys remind me of me and my wife Carol so much. So let me stop you. You said we ran through. No, I bet you, Beck, you ran through.
How'd you know this?
Same way. I could do 3 listings. My wife's done 25.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought when I said to Rebecca, look, you can come on board, we can make some money. We've got enough work, don't worry. And then literally in a couple of weeks, we realized it was quite scary that we'd gotten through and processed pretty much all the stock, and we realized there just wasn't, and the sales weren't coming in. You know, you have those slow patches, and then we realized that, wow, you've gone through all the stock and there simply wasn't enough work for the both of us. So in the end, the long and short of it is you ended up getting a part-time job up here for 3 days, which recently you've cut right down now to just doing 4 hours.
Yeah, I only do 4 hours
a week,
and that's just
which is more to help
out.
more to help out, because then they've got her so that if they need her for extra work, they can call her up. So they keep her employed for like 4 hours a week.
It's basically cover.
As cover, cover. So you're there for holiday cover, aren't you? But you know, things eventually kicked in, but at first it was rocky.
Yeah.
You know, I love that part of the story about you guys moving, because so many people, and this is a worldwide issue. We've now been programmed into the job thinking. We've been programmed into getting in debt. And you said, we can't do this here, so let's move. Let's cut our expenses. So many people get wrapped up into not doing anything or not doing everything that they can. And they'll say, oh, you know, they sell out, or they cop out. You know, that's the pro tip right there. Do whatever. If you really want to do this business, you want to do it full time, do whatever it takes. If it takes moving 4 hours, then that's what you do. And look, are you happy? Okay, so you took that 4 hour move. You're away from some family, you said. Yeah. Are you happier now, or would you rather go back?
In every way but the family, we're happier.
We miss family like crazy.
We do miss family a lot. We've realized that, and that's quite a big negative. But everything else is definitely positive. We
love the lifestyle. Yeah, the girls are going to better schools than they were going to down south.
It's allowed us to what it did is it's given us the room, the breathing space to grow our business, because otherwise we just wouldn't have had that opportunity, because down south the costs were so high. Beck couldn't have left her job. She couldn't have. We just knew she couldn't have. Up here, we saved instantly by moving up here. We saved like £550 a month in rent, and we got a bigger house for it. I mean, that's insane. Like that's like a huge. You know, our car insurance dropped straight away because we weren't in the city anymore. You know, things like that. Instantly, you had that instant impact, and it meant that even that gave us that room to build up. And you know, in the future, you know, we might consider going back or whatever. But at the moment, at the moment, we're very happy, and it's allowed us to build, you know, build things up, and we're still going really. So
we're still trying to push it forward, aren't we?
Okay, let me backtrack 1 second, because I know you talked about your first sale. Why'd you pick eBay specifically, or is it an obvious choice?
I mean, I think there's no barrier to entry. I mean, like I said, my first kind of inspiration online to that was as a DIY mic. Then I saw GilDaddy, and then obviously we saw Nick Hills in the UK, and Nick was obviously massively into eBay as well, and you know, had done really well, and that made it real. That's when I was like, it's got to be.
And we used to go to car boots anyway.
But
it's like the thought never popped into your head. Oh, can
to
we
make profit from it? Yeah, we used to visit car boots just for ourselves, you know, just to buy things. You know, just because it was a cheaper way of doing it. You know, than furnishing your house is a lot cheaper if you do it thrifted rather than doing it. But eBay is a low barrier to entry. There's not really anything. It's obvious. It gives you that, and it just made a lot of sense. And I think even now, it's our preferred. You know, it's our preferred platform.
Okay, and then I know from eBay, have you done any local sales as well when you started out, or is it all specifically eBay only?
I've always done eBay. Yeah, we've been eBay. I mean, I just found that obviously price wise, you obviously get the best prices. I mean, one thing I've always done as well is, even from day one of starting, I've never been afraid to ship abroad. And I think that's just meant that you can really maximize the money you get for stuff. Like, I'm not afraid to ship anything anywhere. I'll do it. It doesn't concern me. And I think that's always given me that extra profit. And when you're buying, like at first I was buying to get high value items, I was going to local auction houses, and you know, you end up obviously sometimes paying for these things. You know, to get a high quality item, you do have to pay some money. You can't get everything for a pound. It just doesn't work. Sometimes you have to spend 100 to make more, right? And you know, the eBay does have such a huge marketplace for these things. Yeah, everyone is on there.
Okay. And then you started, and I'm assuming you started before you made your move up north?
Yeah. I did about 2 years down south in the end. I think it worked out about 2 years. Then we moved 2 years ago up north, and that's when Rebecca got involved.
I mean, I kind of helped a little bit here and there where I could, where the job allowed, but nothing like massively. When we were down south, so it was kind of like having to jump in straight away as soon as we moved, wasn't it?
Okay. And then because you mentioned, obviously, you know, moving up north, you've got financial benefit, you know, things are a lot cheaper and things like that. Did that change the items you were sourcing?
Yes, that's one thing that really, I think that's one of the things that scuppered us in a big way. I think we'd been spoilt. At first I was stubborn about it, and even on my channel I was like, no, you know, anywhere's the same. You can go out and you can find things, you know. I like saying that because it makes you feel like you're in control. But I can honestly now say that, you know, looking back at the time, and some of this may be rose-tinted spectacles, but looking back at the 2 years that I spent down south and the kind of items I was were available to me regularly versus up here, definitely it's better in the southeast. But in London, it's the place to be. And to be honest with you, even since moving up here, like our biggest haul to date, which has changed our business basically, was also from the southeast. It was actually 10 minutes away from my house. So looking back, I feel that stock is, you know, is definitely more. It's more prevalent. I mean, Al's Attic has just commented actually and said, I live in London on 12. He's on £1,200 a month rent. I mean, our rent was £1,325 a month.
Yeah, it was.
And we didn't even have a driveway for that. $1,325 is what, like $1,800, something like that.
Probably, yeah,
probably around that kind of money. So yeah, it's a lot of money for rent. But yeah, definitely the stuff we were picking up down south was, and I'd say is, better than what we pick up
also,
here.
I think up here there's like the people up here tend to be a little bit more savvy.
They're savvy. They want to make things. They want to get the most use out of their items, and when they come to selling them, they want to get the most money. Whereas down in the southeast, it didn't always feel like that.
And it might be like a time-based thing, where because there seems to be a lot more self-employed people.
Al's a girl, isn't she? Of course she is. Yes, of course she
You're
was.
so bad.
Sorry.
You do this all the time.
Sorry.
It's either wrong names or
apologies.
or Al, now you're a boy.
I really couldn't tell from the type, so you're okay. We're going to forgive you on that.
Thank you.
So, I mean, you were talking about things being a kind of a shift in the mindset in North, but are you seeing that you have to go to different types of places? For example, auction houses instead of car boot sales, or retail stores, or maybe you avoid retail stores?
It's not. I think it's been more just changing our. I think we've just adapted to the reality of it, and we're now not getting disheartened by it.
No,
because
I mean, you can still pick up some really good stuff at car boots.
We just know that it's going to be
here.
less frequent.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main difference. I think, like, you can still get, like you said, you can get nice things. But I think to find nice things up here, you're not going to find them as frequently as you would down south. But like you said, you can adjust what you do a little bit, and hauls tend to pay off better up here. Whereas down south, you could just go to a charity shop, or go to you can go to like, or a thrift store, as you'd call them. I mean, like down south, I had a thrift store that I would visit daily. and not just daily. I would go to this place multiple times a day, and because I lived in a really busy town. Everything's close, everything's there, and I was able to visit it a number of times. But this place was constantly getting stuff in, and not only were they constantly getting stuff in, they just wanted rid of it, and they had a good rapport with me, and I was picking up some of the most amazing items for such cheap prices. They just they weren't concerned. Whereas since being up here, we've realized that it's more, we've got to look for like hauls and bundles of things.
We definitely have had better success with like getting bigger hauls. So
but you adapt. That's the key.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, at first we got really, like I said, we got disheartened that we were like, oh my god, because there was a time where we were going to car boots, and we just weren't finding what we were used to finding. We used to find stuff down there regularly that we just up to this day have not seen up here. We just don't see it. A good example is like footwear or like trainers and things like that. Down south you can go to any car boot and you would see Nike Air Force Ones, Air Maxes, or you'd see like really high-end like footwear, boots, things. And when I came up here, I had an expectation that I'd find more of that kind of stuff because we live really close to the Lake District. I thought there'd be a lot of hiking and that kind of stuff, a lot of high-end walking boots, and I'm like, I'm sure there is because people do all that stuff up here, but it never makes it to a car boot. I'm guessing people wear it till it dies, rather than down south where people would buy like a pair of £150 walking boots and then wear them once and then sell them for £5 at the car boot because they realize they're not walking again.
They're not into walking. Yeah. Well, it's a volume thing, like Miss Al is saying. There's more resellers, but more competition. But it's a volume thing and it's a population thing. I mean, it's just that. I see it's a numbers game.
Area too. It's like if you're near San Jose, Oakland, San Francisco, more expensive, harder to get into, more congested, better stuff. We're out. That's the exact same thing you're talking about. So,
and I think the way we've because we're quite secluded. We're not secluded. We live in a very small town. They call it a town. It's a village. It's not a town. There's like a couple of. It's a town. It's a village. It's a village. It's not a town. It's not a town. We came from a town.
No, this is not a town.
No, we're not going to agree on that. But
what's the population of the town or village?
Like, I don't know.
Got no clue.
Let me have a look. It's small.
We can find out.
Garstang population. 4,000 in 2001. So it's gone up now.
It's definitely gone up. Way more.
Yeah, it's gone up. Yeah, it must have gone up. But
that's really out of date.
Hold on. No. Even in 2011, it was 4,800. There you go.
Okay.
Tiny. It's like a village. Croydon had like, I don't know, was it 800,000? Yeah, that's a town. Croydon is a town.
Lonnie's saying that's a town.
If you were in the South in America, you would almost qualify for a stoplight. You were in a small location. That. Yeah. But
we're about.
But you're doing it. That's the key to focus on. Is it does population does matter. You adapt, you change, your horizons are now. I mean, you're not walking down the street. I can guarantee to get. You've got to go to the next. You've got to go to the next stoplight town.
That's right.
And the next.
So your town is small or smaller, should we say? So what's the next closest? Let's say modestly.
No, there's two. We are surrounded by two cities. So we've got Preston to the south of us and Lancaster to the north of us, which are about 25-30 minute drives. So we're actually lucky that we can just go there and then start searching in those areas. But like I said, even our best find to date and something a contact that we've created is actually in the southeast. We're not afraid to. We weren't afraid to drive 4 hours up here and to move. We're not afraid to drive anywhere in the country to find a deal. I think that's the main thing that's changed. When we were down southeast in Croydon, I think we had everything at our fingertips. We didn't have to go far for anything.
Yeah, but there was a lot of traffic though.
There was a lot of traffic.
And you used to get really stressed out.
I did, yeah. So. I didn't like the traffic. I'll be honest. So
and that's me being polite.
Yeah, I did used to get a bit wound up with it. So yeah, I mean, we it's not like we're not in a completely secluded. We're not like in the outback or anything. You know, it's yeah, it's not like that. And, I want to be fair, and we have an easy reach, like half-hour drive either way we can find, but we find that we don't do that anyway because it's not productive, because we've adapted to the area and we realize that by going to charity shops up here, we're just simply not going to find the volume of inventory that we want to keep things ticking over.
Okay. And have you thought, or have you found that maybe instead of going south, you can go, I don't know, east or north, even further, to find like better?
Possibly. I mean, there are. I mean, I know of other guys that will travel to Scotland to certain auction houses. Yeah, so there's no reason why you can't. I mean, you can travel. I mean, I'm open. If I see an auction house that's doing like a lot I'm interested in, I'd be happy to travel. Luckily, recently we've been in a situation where we've done a little bit of work twice in the past few months, and it. Pretty much, I think that's the truth of it. The truth of it is we did a little bit of work twice, and what I mean by that is we got this haul, and we've been back and we've bought some more stuff from this guy, but we've got enough now to get us. It's been feeding us and keeping us busy for the last almost year now.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, we bought. We try not to go on about it too much because we're boring the hell out of our viewers with this as well.
They get really bored, don't they?
We basically cleared out a model shop, and there was a lot of stuff. Like that's all we sell now, pretty much.
Like
is
all RC parts
is model parts. So and that's kept us busy. And now when we go to car boots and things, we just look for like cherry on top items. Like some.
We can afford to be a little bit picky with it, so we're only looking for like the higher ticket items really when we go there.
Lonnie says, "Lol, 4,000 is a legit town here."
That's cool. Have you found that because you found this new niche, in a sense that you also look for those specifically, or like are you trying to like expand that as like your own thing?
It's difficult to say. It has pretty much taken over what we're doing at the moment, but we like to think that actually that's just what we happen to come across.
We'd like to think that if we come across something different, then we'd go ahead and still
in the same volume and we'd buy that. Al's attic in the chat is doing Z's because we've bored her to death with this.
All right, we'll get off the RC.
No, please. That's like running. That's a running thing. That's a running joke. It's not because you guys talk about it. It's because like we talk about it so much on our channel that
we actually start getting people going. Can you show us some car boot stuff?
We can't do sales reports on our channel anymore because when we do sales reports, it's just
But there's a great lesson in that. Z and Beck, if you've got your bread and butter, the stress is off you.
Yeah.
And your expenses go down because you're not spending as much petrol and gas. Your time is now yours more so. So you're at a point where a lot of people need to be. They need to, me and Carol included. We're trying to get that bread and butter going so we can go out and cherry pick and have the fun. Because, well, let me ask you this. You're doing the models and stuff now, but what is each of you's favorite area? Like favorite genre, favorite things to pick at?
Oh gosh, for me, I do like vintage hi-fi still. I think that's what I like. For you, I guess
it's gonna be jewelry.
Jewelry.
Jewelry. I love doing that stuff.
Now, Z, man, me and you got to get together, bud. Because that vintage electronic, vintage hi-fi. I love that stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I'd like to be, just traveling around picking that up because that's my goal. Peter says coffee machines.
Yeah, and I do like coffee machines. Yeah, I've got a commercial. I've actually got a commercial coffee machine. I'm meant to be selling, but yeah, I'm keeping it.
Now, on the same token, let's ask the flip side of the question: what's your least favorite things to, like, we got to make some money this week, and you see them. What's your least favorite to deal with?
For me, it's probably going to be clothes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like to deal with clothes personally.
You read my bio, didn't you?
No, I didn't read your bio.
Yeah.
I find, what, clothes is a really competitive area, and I think only people that truly understand what people want at this moment in time tend to do well, because there's so much of it around. There's so much clothing. The only way you can be successful at it, I think, is by knowing what people want. I mean, it's no different to any other niche, really. I don't think it's different to any other niche. I think the only difference is clothing is so available that it fools you into thinking that we can all do clothing because it's such a big market. There's so many buyers for it.
It's easy to pick up.
Yeah. Wherever you go to source, you'll see clothes, and people are always buying clothes. So it makes you think that anyone can jump in and sell clothes. I actually think selling clothes is a lot more skillful than a lot of people probably realize.
And like you said, very, very competitive. I agree with Zaheer on this one. Clothing is probably my worst nightmare as well.
You've gone off of it.
Yeah,
you did.
I started off on it, but I really don't enjoy doing it.
It's really
Is clothing like it is here in the US, like a thrift store is like 80 to 90% clothing? Is it similar for charity shops in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, you can guarantee the one thing you'll find in every charity shop is clothing. Yeah.
What about storage? Do you have a storage problem too? Like, we have storage units. Storage industry in America is in the United States is a $22 billion a year industry.
Wow.
22 billion.
And that's the stuff that makes it out of people's houses. To think
That's
of it that
insane.
way. So is that? Do you guys also do?
We know storage? People who need storage, and yeah. I mean, Alf. Sorry,
Alfie, hush.
Alf, come in. Come on. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, it is an issue for people, but luckily, again, this is something that it's all worked in our favor because of what we're into at the moment. We've got like over 1,000 listings stored in these blue boxes behind us. There's over 1,000 listings, and that's nearly over 3,000 individual parts just in those, but because they're small packets, you know what I mean? Like they're small, little.
I mean, this used to be in our front room, didn't it? Yeah. We had to have
it's stuff like that. It's small packets.
Yeah. Lots
and lots of them, and that's revolutionized for us the storage situation, because hi-fi. I mean, I did actually buy a hi-fi haul last year, and it was really profitable. It was amazing. I love dealing with it, but wow, it took over the house.
Oh, it did.
It took over the house because you're talking separates can, they're big, they're bulky, loudspeakers, which can be really profitable. They're huge. The storage
so
is
did the RC stuff when we initially bought it home.
Yeah.
I mean, for weeks I had no dining table.
Yeah, but that was different. That was just because of the
I had to give up most of my living room. I only had like the chair and the sofa to kind of sit on for a bit.
That was temporarily.
So we're kind of at the halfway point, and I wanted to have you guys just let everyone out there know, maybe on iTunes as well, where they can find you, and if you could just let them know about your channel as well.
Yeah, sure. We have our own YouTube channel. It's at the moment it's just under my name, which is Zaheer Malik. But it's just called Zaheer and Rebecca's Reselling, but we don't know what it's going to be called. Yeah. But yeah, we do have a YouTube channel. That's where we tend to be most active. We're also we do also have our own Facebook page called Zaheer and Rebecca's Reselling, and we're also active in the Chat Facebook group, which is run by Nick and Andrea Hills, really good friends of ours, and it's an amazing community. Mo, you're part of that, aren't you, as well?
Yeah.
So so we tend to be active on those places, don't we? So but yeah, I mean, it's just we're still very much, you know, like it feels like at the beginning of our journey. We're better than we were, definitely, but we've got a lot to get through. It's, you know, we're still nowhere near the finished products. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a long way to go. There's so much to learn, and
so let's talk a little bit, because I want to know about how the two of you have kind of, because right now you sound like you're perfectly in sync. So was it always like that from day one? How did it start? Like day one, what was it like when I guess day one of working together?
Oh, it was,
and we need the hardcore drama problem on this. We don't have drama on our channel much, so we brought you all in. Bring out some drama. Bring up those old fights. I don't know.
If you guys have watched, if anyone in the chat's watched any of our live streams, you'll know that Beck and I bicker a lot. Anyway,
we do bicker a lot.
We do bicker. I mean, it's only very recently that things have started to make sense, but you don't like being told what to do.
I don't.
And I don't like
being told what to do
either. And so it's constantly like, I felt I could help her because she was like newer to reselling than I was. So I'd be like, you know, I'd really try tactfully to say to her, how about you do this? And she'd just flip on me like, you know, what do you mean? You know, like she'd completely lose her mind. She's really violent. And no, exactly. No, but she wouldn't take kindly to it, and we constantly end up with these like like tension. And
originally we did actually try working from the same office, so we did actually try and work from this space. This is where Zaheer works from. That's why it's all messy and but we realized, you know, I mean, Nick and Andrea had said this to us as well. Yeah, they were like,
they laughed at us. They were like, oh, that's sweet. That's very sweet.
They probably got off talking to us and were like, give it a month. They're going to be in separate offices.
And we did, like, you know, we ended up being in separate rooms, which I think helps in a big way. Like, because I think we can get on each other's nerves sometimes. I mean, you know, I think sometimes, but I think that's just being around someone that much. You're not used to it.
When we had jobs to go to, we were away from.
Or when I was doing this and you were working, it was fine.
We were away from each other. When you come in, you've got stuff to talk about. When you work together, you're constantly in each other's like space. You just
and you're constantly moaning about like the dirt and stuff, and I'm like, look, how can you avoid it? Yeah, it's just it's like it's almost, there's so much stuff here moving around, you can't just. But
I think
Johnny's saying a bore. Shut up.
You know, I asked my wife Carol. I said, "Would you like to be on the show today? Because we're going to be talking about couples and stuff, and kind of the same." We went through the same thing, is where, as I was teaching her, I wasn't guiding her. I was ruling her, and that got me in a lot of trouble. And you know, and I didn't even, in my defense, I didn't realize what I was doing, because of a married couple working together like that. It can, you know, because I said so doesn't work in marriage.
No.
It may work with the kids, but, you know, well, how come you do it that way? And you have to answer those questions. Yeah, so I feel your pain, brother, but also one piece of advice, if you don't mind, man-to-man advice.
Always. Just
always keep in mind that we men do not possess the mental ability to argue with a woman. And if you can get that, and I lose it sometimes, and I think I can. But no, we don't possess the mental capacity for that.
But I think one of the things that I remember frustrating me the most was, like, you really did leave asking me for help as the last resort. The last resort. And I'd be like, why didn't you just ask me? I'm right here.
But then it's like, look at where, like, my job previously, I was the one where people used to come to, and I had to make the final decision and tell people what to do. So having you come And it's you, having you trying to tell me what to do. I was just like, I'm not taking that. I'm not listening to that.
Yeah, but I was
even if it was to try and help me.
I was just there. I felt like I felt like I had some knowledge that could help make her life easier.
Yeah.
But she just didn't want to know. She just didn't want to know. Did not want to take any advice on board whatsoever. Yeah. It was really difficult. I will agree.
Even now, when there's a problem with my PC, you're the last person I'll ask.
Yeah. But the thing is, what you do is you'll try to fix it, get wound up and wound up trying to fix it, and then you'll come to me all wound up, and then I'll say one little thing, or even if I then get it to work, then you're mad at me for getting it to work. I'm like,
hey Mo.
Yes.
Mo, get ready with the kill button.
Fingers on the button already, man.
Get fingers. They're getting hot, Mo.
I'll tell you
get that kill button.
This is probably like really,
We're pretty calm now. This is quite subdued. We're good.
I'm just trying to figure out. Was it worse? Does it kind of go up and down? I'm guessing it does. But like that first day working together, did you figure out like I'm gonna separate tasks, or this is, or did that take a while to figure out?
It's taken a while.
That took a while.
Yeah.
That did take a while.
Yeah.
We did try a number of
tried lots of different combinations. I think at first it was really important that Beck tried to do the whole process.
Yeah, so that I knew how to kind of deal with each section. So in a way, if you weren't there, then I could actually deal with it.
Yeah. And once you felt comfortable, and that was part of the reason why for a short period, like Beck, you actually had your own store. Like Beck actually ran her own store separately.
Yeah.
Just so she was dealing with like the whole process,
the customer service issues, like the posting and sourcing, everything like involved within eBay. And that store was just purely mine to kind of play around with. And in a way, I kind of paid to learn through that store.
Yeah.
Because I had to learn quickly.
Yeah, and now I think we've gotten to a really good situation. I think we're both we're really happy with how the process now goes. So basically, sourcing, I tend to do a lot of the sourcing unless we find a big haul, then we obviously have to go in together.
We're both involved in the decision when it comes to a big haul. We both decide if we want to go for it. Overall.
And then, but once the stock's at home, Beck actually does the researching and the drafting, using she's got templates all set up, but luckily she hates photographing.
I hate it.
So all I have to then do, and I feel like I'm cheating and she feels like she's cheating because I'm
getting to do what I
because you get to do and so it's worked really well. So she does all these drafts for me, and then all I have to do is take photos and attach them to the drafts, and then I tend to take over from that point. So I'll do the shipping and any like customer service type things. So, and that's worked really really well for us. And it's gotten to the point now where we did our very first car boot sale at the weekend, and car boot sales can get, like, especially if you're new, like it's like a swap meet basically, where you turn up in a field with all your stuff in the back of a car, and they're known for the first 5 minutes being quite they can be possibly overwhelming. If you know what I mean, because as soon as you open your boot, loads of people swarm in, and a lot of dealers will swarm in looking to see what you've got for sale, right? And it can be quite stressful. And Beck and I, knowing what we're like, we were both expecting to at least have a couple of arguments, because it's it can be stressful. It was the first time we'd ever done it. And we got through the whole day and we loved it, and we didn't have any issues, which was really nice.
Did you get into? You got a rush out of it, where it
was so enjoyable.
It's like getting the cha-ching on eBay, but live.
Yeah.
Like
People handing you money and you're just like taking the stuff away, and it was brilliant. Yeah.
In my mind, when I think of a car boot, and I think you talked about this on your channel last week, personal space.
Yeah.
Did you have anybody that is like, oh, what's on his dashboard?
Yeah, you did get that.
They were quite right, to be quite honest, they did actually ask if they could have a look, which was quite surprising. Because when you see it normally, you just see a huddle of people around a boot of a car, and you just think, oh my goodness, that poor person that's kind of having to deal with that. But they were actually.
But when you're there to sell,
yeah,
I think we very quickly got into the headspace.
We
Hold on,
we want this.
We want this to happen in a way.
So who did what? Like, how did you figure? Like, I'm gonna be the one, you know.
Well, we both shared a bit of the float, didn't we? So we could deal with different things. We'd priced up separate things, hadn't we?
Yeah, we had.
Yeah. So we roughly knew what
each other wanted to
go. And we weren't. I think also we went there to clear stuff out. We weren't looking to make like a profit. We really were looking to get rid of the stuff. So that took a lot of pressure off. I think where sometimes it can be a pressure situation at car boots is when people start haggling and you're trying to get a certain price for an item. Luckily for us, because we didn't have that dynamic, we just wanted to get rid of stuff. It was a lot less stressful, you know. If we asked someone like for £10 and if they said like, oh, would you take 7, we didn't take offense to that. We were like, sure, 7, it's yours. You know.
One thing I would say is I mean, this is bad, but if I ever go, we don't have car boots, but if we go to like you know, flea markets or anything similar, and I see people that know each other or couples, and I'll kind of watch to see, you know, are they selling stuff or not, and then I'll see how they riff off each other, and then usually you can tell if one of the people is more dominant than the other, maybe the wife or the husband or whatever, and I'll wait for one to walk away, and then this is horrible, I know, but it works.
You have to. Well, we've talked about this, like on garage sales. You know, if the man stuff's out there, go talk to the woman. You know, because you know it's about. But most are short too, so you gotta watch. You gotta watch the quiet ones.
I've got to say, guys, don't feel bad, because as buyers, we've noticed and we've done the same thing. I mean, you know, you do. I mean, we've all had that situation where even by accident you come across a stall and the wife's there, she's tired and she's angry because the husband's just left her to go for a walk, and you ask how much this item is that is his, and she's like, oh, I don't know, give me £1 for it. And then as you're walking away, you just hear the husband coming back and saying, oh, you sold that, how much did you get? And then the conversation starts.
And you're running up the aisle.
Yeah, and you're just running with this. You're like, I'm done here now. I don't want to. You know, that's happened on a number of occasions. That's happened on a number of occasions where it's happened vice versa as well, where like the wife is mad at the husband because the husband's given something away for a lot less than she had wanted, and vice versa. It's happened. The only time I would draw a line is where sometimes people ask the children, and sometimes people have children there, and sometimes I've seen like kids give stuff away, like, you know, and I think that's teetering on. No, I'm not sure about that. You know, but it's personal. You know.
Yeah.
I've seen that too, and then I think who was it that was talking about? Lonnie was talking about this actually on his show. Negotiating with kids, and the last one I had, I thought that in my head, oh, this is going to be easier. So I go up. This kid was, I don't know what he was on. He's like, he looked me up and down. And he's all, 25, and this was like an action figure is probably worth about 15, and that was it. And he was like, well, that's the best I can do. I'm like, hey, where did that come from? You're 7 years old. I mean,
wow.
Hey, kids are the best salespeople in the world. I mean, that's why at the Girl Scouts, all the fundraisers, you send the kids throughout the neighborhood to go ask, because they don't take no. They'll use names. They know their price. Yeah, and the kids will size you up and go, nope, that's it. But in the same token, like Z said, you do have to be respectful and right. And I've stopped and taught some of them sometimes. Say, no, this is not, it's not worth this, or you know what, you're selling something that's worth. Why don't you take it back? Yeah, and sell it on Facebook or online, because you'll make more money. Oh, thank you. And that usually the karma come back. The parent catches that, and they go, "Oh, thank you. Well, here, take this stuff for $1." Something. Yeah.
Well, Lonnie's just said,
Yeah.
I feel uneasy when I get a really cheap price from a kid. I clear it with their parents. I think that's the right thing to do. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, like our daughters are completely uninterested in any in any of what we do. They just have no interest in this. And I know if we took them to a car boot, they would just give stuff
they would
away.
just give it away.
Like, just take. So yeah, it would be really bad if someone just took advantage of that. But they just wouldn't want to. So obviously you don't. That's why we don't take them, because they don't want to go. To be honest, they always say no. It's all right.
It would be the same. It'd be like my son would be just giving it away. So what do you want? Okay. Before they even said it away, like, here you go. You want another one? And my daughter would probably just run away and hide.
But you know those kids that upset me at the garage sales, those ones selling the cookies. Because I can't pass those kids up for nothing. So by the time I'm done garage sailing in a neighborhood sale or something like that, I've ate so many cookies that and I don't need any more cookies.
I'd love that. I'd love kids selling cookies. That'd be amazing. We don't get that here, unfortunately.
Really? They're everywhere. On every grocery store. It's not just cookies, it's candy. It's like a 50-cent candy bar, and they're selling it for $5, $10.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, that's great.
That's a markup.
So between the two of you, I want to know the dynamic, like both selling and maybe in your past, of course, the car boot. Who was more, let's say, aggressive in terms of negotiating, and who is kind of the one that sits back?
Negotiating in what sense? Like in terms of what, when we were selling stuff?
If you're sourcing something, or if you're selling something like the car boot you were at.
I think I'm probably more likely to barter.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm probably more likely to barter. Like Rebecca will, if you like the price, you'll buy it.
Yeah.
If you don't like the price, you just won't buy it. But you won't barter. Whereas I will.
I have done a couple of times, but it does make me feel a little bit awkward. So I'm still kind of getting there with that. Yeah. But
yeah. I think that's something that you pick up over time. But I would definitely out of us two, I think I'm probably the more forward. But it's because I do more of the kind of dealing. But then on the other side, when we do like a really big haul, like when we did a really big haul, Beck actually was really important with how it works, because I was kind of at the verge of overstepping my banter, like when you're when you're trying to, especially when you're doing a deal for like a lot more money because you're buying a lot of stuff. I kind of felt that gave me more room to negotiate, but I sometimes I get too greedy. So it was a great deal that was being offered, and Rebecca recognized it was a great deal. And I think I was just about to push it too far. But luckily, and I could have annoyed the seller to the extent that the seller might have turned around and been, hey, look, if you don't want it, do one. But luckily, Rebecca was there, and you did quite a cool thing where you were able to, I don't know, just schmooze, not schmooze over, but
Keep I was keeping
the conversation going away from
the person on side, and like we were having a nice little chat away from you. And then I'd just go over to you and go,
just take this.
Just take it, all right?
Yeah, like she acted almost like the intermediary, which was quite nice. So,
okay. So then, have you done local sales recently in terms of other than the recent car boot sale for sourcing?
I will look at local local listings and things if there's an opportunity available. And I always keep my eye out for things, but I've not necessarily been very successful on Facebook Marketplace or anything. But what I do is, like, if I'm out and about, I will just keep an eye out. So one of our best hauls last year was this bunch of hi-fi stuff. And it was literally a local store was closing down, and we popped in, and on the front of it just looked like this guy was just selling light bulbs and fixtures, but upstairs he had like years and years of vintage hi-fi that he'd just stored away.
So excited.
And it was one of those kind of Aladdin's cave moments, but it was just a case of spotting an opportunity. And going in and just like looking for these types of opportunities, because there are often you often can see these things. If you just keep, they can be local where they're just not advertised as much, or.
Okay. And I wanted to shout out some of the people in the chat, which I haven't. I'm really bad at doing this. Lonnie Garage Flips, Peter Ray. Who else? I gotta say this, Bum Crack Picker.
Yeah.
That is the best name, best handle ever. That is, I love that.
Yeah, BC. We call him BCP.
BCP.
Yeah,
because we can't say it without laughing.
Yeah, because it's such a great name. We call him BCP. Shout out to me. Wait. It's amazing.
Oh, that's good.
I missed that. What'd you say?
No, just
the names.
It gets me every time. Seriously. Like, I don't know. Get that website. Like,
oh, that's great.
People will just type it in just to type it in and laugh.
Oh gosh, yeah. Wade's Ventures as well, and Roaming Pickers.
This guy, really, really generous guy. So
yeah.
Okay.
Lonnie says I was sure BCP was a troll the first time I saw the name. Yeah.
That's a universally good name.
It's a great name. Everyone loves it. It's Atlantic now, BCP.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got people on iTunes that we've got listeners around the globe. Now they're gonna have to go to YouTube.
The screen
to see that
there's
a screen.
The best screen name ever. So check him out you'll find him on YouTube.
You find him on YouTube.
No, he doesn't have a channel that he makes videos on.
That's right. You got to get a channel.
Yeah.
I tune it just to see your screen name.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I want to know also when you're sourcing, because obviously you're coming from different areas, different interests, different everything. Because I know you're into jewelry and hi-fi would be your top. Do you ever have items that you would say you don't source because you don't really agree that they're a fit for your store, but you do have an expertise in that maybe?
I think we've become like that recently.
We have recently.
Yeah. We recently, I think Rebecca is not big into RC cars or parts at all, no. but we've recently we've recognized like the power of having like a niched store. Mm-hmm. And in terms of repeat customers and just the presence that you have on eBay when when you're like the go-to person for a certain thing, right? Like for us, basically anything to do with Thunder Tiger RC cars, the chances are people are going to find what they want on our store. Obviously there are other people out there as well, but we've got a fair amount. And that has now meant that we're a lot more thoughtful about what else we will put on the store. We used to we used to be we're generalists, we'll buy and sell anything. Mm-hmm. And whilst we can see the value in lots of different things, we are very much now like RC has got to be the majority. We will list non-RC stuff, but the proviso is that it's got to be worth it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but before this, we were very eclectic. It was we had like all kinds of stuff listed. We were our store was very, 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 very general. It was just like a lot of people's stores where the store inventory just depended on what we came across at the weekend or from the thrift store or from the swap meet or whatever you guys call it, but like it just reflected what we found. But now when we got this volume of stuff in, like over 1,000 of our listings, I think we've got about 1,300 odd listings. Over 1,000 of them are RC parts. Yeah. So when this stuff came in, it just swamped the store. Yeah. But we've now seen benefits to that as well. Like I said, with the repeat custom and just that presence and we've been spoilt by it, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you find in your market that there are kind of like two types? There's the person looking for the deal, of course, the best prices possible. But then I find that I also have ran across people that, hey, it's the value of the item is good. It kind of shocked me at first. And what I'm trying to say is, like, I was in low, like you said, whatever you could find just to put on. And, I started out, it was like having a store at $6.99.
Yeah.
And then built it up from there. But then I've got stuff that still shocks me. They'll drop $200-$300 on an item, like, not even batting an eye. So is it kind of the same way over there where you do have those repeat buyers, you said? But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got parts which from as little as $3.99. Yeah. That's like our lowest, I think, or £3.19 even is our lowest price part, and then we've got things selling into the hundreds, right?
Yeah.
And I think that you get to, when you niche down, you do get to know your customers a bit more, and we found that overall our customers tend to just want the item quickly, and that's it. Yeah. So they don't mind necessarily paying, as long as they know, once they know you're reliable, they tend to come back and just buy off of you. So it's like they'll make that first purchase, and once they know they got it in time, quickly,
and it'll just be like one,
because we're not the cheapest, are we?
No,
yeah, we're not
the cheapest. Yeah. On some things we are, but there are two other stores that we know of that deal in the same.
Yeah, there's a store in Norway and a store in Germany that sells a lot of the same stuff that we have.
Yeah. So we kind of have to be competitive to a certain point, particularly because a lot of our stuff does end up going
overseas. Yeah, we sell a lot overseas. Yeah.
So we have to.
Now, let me cut you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Russ.
Oh, thank you, Mo. How does that work on, like, I don't have my head wrapped around, like, we have U.S. and international, two options. Yep. Does the European countries, are they in a grouping, or once you cross the international line, you're crossing into international? How does that work with, like,
for international
Germany and France and?
Yeah, I mean, we sell about 40% of our stuff abroad, which is huge. Like, imagine if we lost 40% of our sales because we didn't offer international shipping. We international shipping is massive for us. We've kept it pretty simple. So anything that's going to Europe, we will charge like $7.99.
Yeah, it's like a standard.
Standard. So anywhere in Europe. So we just do it like that. And then if
it is international. I mean, they don't have like an agreements or anything for mail. So you've got to go through. It's got to go through the customs forms.
Europe, most European countries, we don't need to do any customs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just goes to. So for example, at most European countries, it's fine. But even the ones where they're not, it doesn't seem to be an issue, because when we print out our postage labels, it prints the custom form out right next to it, and we've not had any issues. And we've sold plenty of stuff to. To the States, to Australia, the Far East, etc., where they have the customs form, and it seems to not be an issue.
Okay. And which country would you say, I guess foreign country, would you say you ship to the most out of that 40%?
Oh gosh, I could probably have a quick look. Actually, I'm not sure. I would assume it's going to be either Italy
not so long
or
ago, I think it was Italy.
Do you know, is it Italy or France? Maybe I don't know. I'll have a quick look. We'll do it for like this year. I mean, that's the other thing. It's really important to not be judgmental about other nations as well. I mean, like, actually, funnily enough, at the car boot, I was speaking to a lady, and she asked, like, you don't ship to Italy, do you? Because I've had a lot of trouble, because you'd had a bad experience. I think she'd had 1 or 2 bad experiences with Italian buyers, and because of that, she'd pretty much crossed off like the whole country of Italy, as if everyone that's part of that population is bad, and you can't, I don't think that's the right thing to do, because it would damage our sales. If we did that, it would massively damage our sales. It's let me just quickly have a look. I've got the insights up now. If we just do it for 2018 so far, actually it's France.
Okay.
France.
So it's changed.
Yeah. For 2018, we've got France, then we've got Germany, then we've got Australia, yeah, then Austria, then Italy.
In Italy,
Yeah.
yeah. But it
And
used to be Italy.
Do you use GSP? Is that something?
No.
No, we took that off,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Yeah.
We started doing our own shipping.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in that from places outside the US, because my issue with GSP, the emails I get are, hey, can you cut that down? I have to pay, $60 to ship that, and it weighs 1.5 pounds. Do you have that same issue?
That's why GSP can be quite expensive. It can be. It depends what you're selling. Now, a lot of what we sell are like what are called large letters. So they're like, they're quite small, and a lot of what we sell is under 100 grams. So it's going to be cheap anyway. By GSP, it'll probably cost more. Yeah. But also GSP is much more slower.
Yeah.
And so we find that we can ship a lot cheaper and faster by doing our own shipping.
And not only that, we were getting a lot of issues with customers saying that they hadn't received their item, because what they were doing is once it had reached the UK base, they were marking it as delivered, but then from that point it then had to go onto
the country of origin.
So we were having a lot of issues like that, so we wanted to stop that, didn't we? So
and we're even getting to the point where we're quite happy to start sending international parcels as long as they're like under £20 as standard post, because even if you pay for tracking, a lot of the times the tracking will stop when it leaves the UK anyway. So you're charging a customer that much more anyway, and then you're not really getting the full door-to-door tracking, because once it leaves the UK, it really depends on the country it's going to's tracking service. And again, we looked at what our competition's doing, and there's lots of RC sellers out there, and there are some places that will ship anywhere in the world for £5. And if they can do that, then you've got to look at, well, it must work to an extent. Comparable size stores as well. So we're kind of looking at like for like similar stores, and they're offering that, and then so you have to try to look at it and be like, okay, maybe they're doing that for a reason.
Okay. And then do you offer both? You just eliminated GSP completely, or you offer both?
We keep it for I think we keep it for like bigger, bulkier items.
Okay.
So for example, the other items that we're selling, if it's like above a certain size, we do. But then a lot of times GSP is not even available on those things. To be honest with you, we offer our own shipping on pretty much everything now. I don't think we've not sent a GSP item for God knows how long. I mean,
a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way of getting into international shipping. But the fact that you're charging the customer customs up front as well, it adds a massive cost, because a lot of the times items get through without any custom charge. That's not you doing anything naughty. It's just it will get through without being stopped, and they won't add customs to it. They'll just deliver it. As long as you're making sure you're declaring what the item value is, you're covered.
Oh yeah, because I was in shipping for years, and then we used to ship in it wasn't on eBay. It was U.S. Postal, FedEx, UPS. Doesn't matter how you ship to what country, they all have their own list of items they like, items they don't like.
Yeah.
And it's funny that eBay. I mean, it's good and it's funny that they blanket it, like you said.
Yeah.
Like, it could be a T-shirt, it could be a candy bar, but it's all going to go through GSP, and you pay that extra. That
full tray. I mean, there was one time where it did bite us in the behind, as it were. And there was one time, and we sold an RC car to a guy in Australia, and normally, they don't like lipo batteries, because lipo batteries can be dangerous, and this car had a lipo battery.
And it was a tiny battery.
Tiny battery.
Oversight on our part, really.
But the thing is, it was installed in the car, so technically it shouldn't have been an issue. But we sent it via a courier. It got X-rayed, and it got sent back to us, and we lost the shipping, and we had to refund the guy. So that's one time where it's worked against us. But the next time we just took the risk out and just removed the battery and told them there's no battery, and we sold it that way. but yeah, it's just, so you can get caught out in that respect sometimes if you're not careful. But we've had no issues, really no issues, and we much prefer it, I think.
Yeah. I think the postal services all around the world are getting way better anyway, so
yeah,
that helps. So another thing I wanted to touch on, I know we're running over an hour here, so let us know if you,
no, it's all right, it's cool.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
But other than eBay, we've talked about eBay a lot. What other channels, avenues are you selling on?
We do a little bit of Amazon FBA,
but it's such a tiny amount.
But it's something we really want to grow because there is a massive, there's a really big opportunity there for us to sell more. And
when we have kind of put effort into it, it really has paid off for us. Yeah. But it's like our attention has always been mainly on eBay, hasn't it? Yeah. So it's something that we need to work on.
It's more of a habit thing. We got into this by doing a lot of eBay, and then we've just not paid enough attention to Amazon. But there's a big opportunity, and when we do put the effort in, it really makes a difference. So definitely, we want to put more stuff up at FBA. It really is still. I know there's been a lot of changes, and there's always changes in everything, but there's still a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know a lot of US sellers that are trying to sell on the Amazon FBA in the UK. So, I mean, specifically, just because it's, I don't know, it's slightly less saturated than the US market.
Yeah.
I'd imagine so, yeah.
But yeah, I think your RC parts might do well on there.
That's the thing. I don't think they would.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, I don't think they would. There's certain things I think that people will automatically go to eBay for, like the kind of people that are buying the parts that we're selling, like older parts. They just lend themselves to eBay better. If it was current, if what we were selling was current stock, current models, then I could see that. Yeah. Sorry about this. Sorry.
No worries. Okay, so we're winding down here. And I just wanted to have you, if you could just let people know how they can find you again, just so that if you don't know.
Yeah, sure, definitely, guys. You can check us out on YouTube. If I just say hi in the chat, you can just click on the 3 dots next to our name, and you'll be able to navigate to the channel. But it's just Zaheer Malik. We do regular videos on there. Yeah. About whatever we're up to reselling wise. So yeah, I mean that's the main place, and then
we've got Facebook page, which is
Zaheer and Rebecca's Reselling. Yeah, that's it.
Excellent. And then I wanted to ask you, so how was the wedding this weekend?
We actually went to the car boot on the morning, so we were worried that maybe there'll be fewer people, but it didn't seem to affect that.
No.
But yeah, everyone. I think
our daughter, she loves the royal family. We don't necessarily watch it like she does. But she's really into it, so she sat down and watched it.
Some people love it, some are not fussed. I'm not particularly fussed.
I watched the highlights.
You watch the highlights. Our girls love it. Well, one of the girls loves it. The other one's not bothered.
Did you guys see that meme that came out? It showed kind of Harry looking despondent, and he's kind of looking off. It wasn't from the wedding. It said underneath, it said, you're at your, the look you get when you're at your bachelor party and you realize the strippers have your grandmother's picture on it. So I was like, you think about things like that. So.
Yeah, that's something that I'd not thought of.
Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask if it would be okay if you guys wanted to come back on sometime in the future.
Oh, definitely, definitely enjoy chatting with both Mo and Russ. Definitely, really? You guys are fun.
Yeah,
a lot of fun. And I'm going to put all their links, and actually it should already be there in the bottom there. Anyone listening on iTunes, please check out Zaheer and Bex on YouTube and their Facebook page, and they'll be in the links in the bottom of the iTunes page as well. And for myself and Russ, this has been another episode of the Reseller Niche Podcast. Just want to say thanks, everyone, and have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.